sense of what's happening as we reveal the key factors behind events, strategic battles, and the game-changing business decisions that shape the world. We bring you all of this and more on World Business Watch.
Hello there, I'm Eric Njoka and this is Race to Power on WION World is One. Welcome to the show. Argentinian President Javier Milei's party has pulled off a stunning win in legislative elections, boosting his ability to push forward with his overhaul of the economy, including free market reforms and deep austerity measures. And fears are growing for hundreds of thousands of civilians trapped in El Fasher, Sudan, after the paramilitary rapid support forces said it had captured the city, which it has been besieging for more than a year in the country's civil war. We begin with Argentina. Argentina's midterm legislative elections have handed a decisive mandate to President Javier Milei's party. This is a major win for the libertarian leader, whose reforms have been pushed back by congressional lawmakers. Milei addressed supporters after his party's big victory. The president calls this election outcome a, quote, turning point for Argentina and vowed to pursue an economic overhaul.
We will not only defend the reforms that have been made, but we will also promote the reforms that are still needed to achieve that future. We want to be a country that grows into the Argentina we should never have stopped being, to make Argentina great again. I would like to highlight the role of the new Congress, which will be fundamental in ensuring this change of course starting on December 10th. We will now have 101 representatives instead of 37.
The election mandate comes as a shock to Argentina's opposition and its supporters. Opposition's Peronist leader has rejected the Argentine president's claim to victory despite official polling results showing a huge setback to the opposition coalition.
Milei and the government are mistaken if they celebrate this election result, in which 6 out of 10 Argentines have said they disagree with the model they are proposing. They are also mistaken if they ignore the situation our people are going through, which is one of enormous suffering, marked by job losses and a decline in economic activity, where companies are closing every day, where the most vulnerable are suffering more and more every day.
Milei's party, La Libertad Avanza, has secured 41.5% of the vote in Buenos Aires province. In contrast, the opposition Peronist coalition has secured 40.8% votes in the province, which at one point was considered its stronghold. In Sunday's midterm election, voters cast their ballot to renew 1/3 of senators and half of deputies in Congress. The election was seen as a crucial test for Milei's presidency, who now has a decisive mandate to push ahead with austerity measures. While following the election result, supporters of Argentinian president celebrated the victory, but opposition supporters are disappointed in the mandate. Take a look at these mixed reactions from the ground.
Today's victory for Javier Milei and Libertad Avanza is also important in that it gives us some indication of the future of the country and the general trend of what is likely to happen in the near future. So there are a lot of things that are starting to fall into place, and perhaps the most important thing is that they won in the province of Buenos Aires, which is where you can see what people really want or need, and you can also see a little bit of what is coming in 2027. I know that is a long way off, but we are thinking about it.
And with regard to its importance, which is fundamental, crucial, This year's Congress has come out strongly against Milei's project, almost in a coup-like manner. It has attempted to undermine the main thrust of Milei's government, which is fiscal balance, with a set of measures aimed at breaking that fiscal balance. And well, this will give him the strength and ability to confront what was happening in Congress.
What I don't understand is people who are voting against their own interests. What we are voting for are our representatives who make the laws that govern our daily lives. That's what I don't understand.
And even though the results may not be favorable, which is what people are saying, the people should continue to turn out at the polls, vote, choose, and well, keep working if we lose, so that, in 2027, with unity, Peronism have to come together.
So what does this mean for Argentinians going forward? Because there is some claim that US President Donald Trump, who's a fan of Javier Milei, and Javier Milei was actually at the White House a few days ago where he met President Trump. Trump could have had a role to play in these elections, but we do not know now that Milei, who is known to lead by decree and offer some of his intensive and austerity measures to his people, will now have a green light or a go-ahead as he speaks, or now that he has the numbers at the Senate and also at the Congress. Christopher Hale is a political analyst. He's now joining us live from Chicago. Mr. Hale, thank you very much for your time, and it's good to see you. How much of a contribution do you think Trump had in this election and in Milei's triumph? Or do you actually think that Trump played a role in this?
I do. I think you really had two effects here. Domestically, obviously, the promise of funds was so important for Milei. He made that argument to Trump. He went and asked for it in the context of the election, and President Trump made it very clear that he gave him that money so that he could win re-election. So I think that's number one in the international affairs and giving the resources. But also, two, I think that this is part of this global populist wave that Milei has been able to really make himself a part of. And so I think that the stronger that he was able to pull himself within that, I think was very important for his victory. So I think that he owes Donald Trump a tremendous amount for this victory. As much as it hurts me to say as a Democrat, I think that Trump really helped him get over the top here.
Mm-hmm. Mr. Hale, what does this mean for Milei and Argentinians going forward? Because Milei is known to lead by decree. Now that he has the backing of Congress and the Senate, how do you think Argentina will look like going forward?
I think the first and most important thing is he can no longer argue that he does not have the resources, he doesn't have the political capital, he doesn't have what he needs to win to govern his mandate. So I think that it's going to be important for him to deliver. I think if he does not deliver, the Argentinian people will blame him. Look, I mean, Argentina has had 40, 50 years of economic instability, of corruption, political failure. So he has promised a lot, but I don't think his voters will be happy unless he delivers on that promise. So I think the pressure's on. I think that, when you pick up one side of the stick, you pick up the other. And the other side of the stick here is an electoral victory. And so he's going to have to deliver. I'm skeptical that he will be able to, but that's going to be the mandate that he has, and he's going to be judged upon.
All right, Christopher Hale, it's good to see you. I'll let you go for now. Thank you very much for talking to us today.
Thank you for having me.
Sudan's civil war has reached a turning point. The country's rebel group, Rapid Support Forces, have claimed control over the city of El Fasher. The race to control and power has only intensified in the country, putting its millions of civilians at unprecedented levels of risk and crises. El Fasher is a key city in western part of Sudan in the Darfur region. The development is a major setback for Sudanese army as the last foothold in the region slips from their grip. A video posted by the RSF shows its soldiers cheering in front of a sign for the army's 6th Infantry Base. This essentially strengthens regional control for the rebel RSF, which claims to have destroyed military vehicles.
The Sudanese people's right is in our hands. The Sudanese people's right is in our hands. And we are now inside the 6th Infantry Division.
The group shared drone footage showing the first moments of its takeover of the army headquarters in the city of El Fasher, which has been a flashpoint for months, with the RSF fighting not just Sudan's army, but also its allied rebel groups and other fighters. In the past, the RSF has targeted civilians in frequent drone and artillery strikes, while the siege has led to starvation among the 250,000 people who remain in the west of the city. Analysts have warned this could effectively partition Sudan, with the army holding the north, east and center, and the RSF dominating Darfur and parts of the south. Early voting has begun in New York City for a high-stakes mayoral race that has caught the interest of US President Donald Trump. On Sunday, top leaders of America's left showed up at the rally of NYC mayoral candidate Zoran Mamdani. US Senator Bernie Sanders and New York Congresswoman Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez attended the rally to show support for Mamdani as campaigning reaches its final leg. Both Democrat leaders attacked Trump in their addresses.
This is America, New York City. Don't let them tell you any different. Don't let them tell you that we are the exception. We are the rule. We are the standard. We are the acceptance, and we set the bar for America. I'm talking to you, Donald Trump.
At a moment when Americans are extremely distressed about where we are as a nation, economically and politically, a victory here in New York will give hope and inspiration to people throughout our country and throughout the world. That is what this election is about. And that is why Donald Trump is paying attention to this election.
Mamdani addressed a crowd of cheering supporters, reiterating his election pitch of reforming escalating rent and providing universal health care, causes which have pegged Mamdani as a front-runner in almost every popularity poll.
Together, New York, we're going to freeze the... Together, New York, we're going to make buses fast and... Together, New York, we're going to deliver universal... We will make our city one where every person who calls it home can live a dignified life.
Supporters at Mamdani's rally say that the young liberal leader's grassroots campaign to address real issues faced by New Yorkers has helped him gain the traction as a favorite among many.
I did everything society asked of me to do. I have a master's degree, I have a job, and even with all of that, we're still scraping by. And so to hear Zoran talk about freezing the rent and making our city affordable again gives us a lot of hope that we can still live here.
Early voting began this past Saturday and will go on till November 2nd. The main election day is on November 4th, and polls will be open from 6 a.m. to 9 p.m.
Hello.
India will be revising voter lists in 9 states and 3 union territories in the second phase of voter roll revision. The poll panel chief has announced that the exercise will begin after next month's Bihar Assembly polls. Special Intensive Revision, or SIR, will be done in Bengal and Tamil Nadu, both of whom will vote in high-profile elections next year, and Uttar Pradesh, which will vote in 2027. Voter lists in states of Chhattisgarh, Goa, Gujarat, Kerala, Madhya Pradesh and Rajasthan will also be revised in this phase. Special intensive revision will also be done for union territories of Andaman and Nicobar, Puducherry and Lakshadweep.
Special intensive revision is देश में चुनाव आयोग ने कराया.
Special intensive revisions have already been done 8 times from 1951 till 2004. The last SIR was done more than 21 years ago. Many changes are required in the system. As people migrate and their old address remain valid on our server, sometimes foreign citizen names reflect an election commission server. Due to these reasons, EC has decided to implement SIR in the whole country.
के साथ-साथ लोगों का migration.
The revision in 12 states will cover 51 crore voters, and the enumeration process will begin on November 4th and go on till December 4th. Draft rolls will be released on December 9th. Voters struck from the rolls can file appeals from date of publication of draft rolls to January 8th. The final revised voter lists will be published on February 7th. Opposition Congress was quick to criticize poll panel's decision to conduct countrywide voter revisions.
SIR की घोषणा हुई छत्तीसगढ़ में.
The announcement of SIR in Chhattisgarh has been made, but the Election Commission should tell how many Bangladeshis have been identified in Bihar. How many people have been excluded? Because through SIR, these people are talking about driving out foreign citizens. Even till now, the Union Home Ministry has not been able to tell how many people from Pakistan are living in Chhattisgarh.
पाकिस्तानी बहुत हैं. अभी तक के गृह मंत्रालय ये नहीं बता पाया है कि कितने पाकिस्तानी हैं यहाँ छत्तीसगढ़.
The first phase of special intensive revision of voter lists was conducted in the months of June and July this year in Bihar, an exercise the poll body says was completed with the publication of the final roll on September 30th. However, the voter roll revision was marred with controversies. The top court directed the poll body to include Aadhaar in the list of indicative documents, any of which can be submitted as proof of identity to seek inclusion or exclusion from the voter rolls. The Supreme Court had overruled the Election Commission's reservations about forgery. The revision of voter list in Bihar finally resulted in exclusion of nearly 65 lakh voters, that is 650,000 voters, from a total of 7 crore voters. The opposition claimed the Bihar SIR was aimed at mass disenfranchisement, particularly of poor and minority communities. Congress Member of Parliament Rahul Gandhi led that charge, producing data from Karnataka and Maharashtra to claim collusion between the poll panel and the BJP to deliver massive wins for the ruling party. Both the Election Commission and the BJP had rubbished the claims and demanded the opposition to furnish proof of its allegations in court. Congress has released its list of star campaigners for the Bihar Assembly elections. Sonia Gandhi, Rahul Gandhi, Priyanka Gandhi Vadra and Kanhaiya Kumar are among the party's 40 star campaigners for the first phase of polls to be held on November 6th. The list also includes Party President Mallikarjun Kharge. It has 3 star campaigners from the state of Rajasthan, former Chief Minister Ashok Gehlot, National General Secretary Sachin Pilot, and Congress Communications Cell in charge Pawan Khera. All India Congress Committee in charge of Bihar Krishna Alavaru, Bihar Congress Chief Rajesh Ram, Congress General Secretaries K.C. Venugopal, Bhupesh Baghel, Randeep Sajawala and Syed Nasir Hussain, as well as senior leaders Tariq Anwar, Gaurav Gogoi, Mohammad Javed and Akhilesh Prasad Singh are also on the list. Interestingly, Congress General Secretary K.C. Venugopal's name features just above Priyanka Gandhi's name in the list. Independent Member of Parliament Papu Yadav also features in the list of 40 star campaigners. The opposition in INDIA bloc, which has the RJD, the Congress and the left parties as the main constituents last Thursday declared RJD leader Tejasvi Yadav its chief ministerial candidate for the Bihar polls. Cameroon's 92-year-old incumbent President Paul Biya has won the country's presidential election with 53.66% of the vote, and that's according to official results announced by the Constitutional Council today. Protests erupted in several cities after partial results reported by local media showed Biya was on course to win. At least 4 people have died in violent clashes between security forces and opposition supporters. The violence broke out in the port city of Douala, where authorities say demonstrators attacked Gendar Mary Brigade and police stations in 2 districts. The regional governor confirmed the deaths and said several security personnel are also injured. Supporters of opposition leader Issa Chiroma took to the streets after he called for peaceful demonstrations defying a government ban. Police used tear gas to disperse hundreds, chanting, "Goodbye, Paul Biya, Chiroma is coming." Many others are using social media as an outlet to raise their concerns.
A lot of us who have come up to speak, people fear for our lives, people fear for our safety, because that is the country we find ourselves in. We find ourselves in a country that is dictatorship instead of democracy. But we don't know what will happen. And we have still decided that despite whatever will happen, we will not keep quiet. We will still speak up.
Now that Cameroon's Paul Biya extends his 43 years in power, another 7-year term could keep him in power until he's nearly 100 years old. Biya is the world's oldest serving ruler and has been in power in Cameroon since 1982. Let's now take a look at what else is making headlines in the world of elections and politics. Catherine Connolly has decisively won Ireland's president election. The left-wing independent candidate secured 63% of the votes, comfortably beating her opponent, Heather Humphreys, who secured just under 30% vote share. In her inaugural address, Connolly vowed to be an inclusive president, speaking specifically to the people who did not vote for her. In Kosovo, lawmakers have failed to elect interim leader Albin Kurti as the country's prime minister. Kurti received 56 votes in the 120-seat parliament, falling short of majority by 5 votes. The deadlock in parliament further paves the way for snap elections in Kosovo after leaders from ruling and opposition called for fresh polls. Seychelles, Africa's wealthiest country per capita, has picked a new president in Patrick Hamaini. The 62-year-old was sworn in after defeating incumbent leader Wavel Ramkalawan. And finally, on Race to Power, while the ASEAN summit may be over, a moment captured on its sidelines has gone viral. Malaysia's Prime Minister Anwar Ibrahim's praise for the US President Donald Trump took a humorous turn when he joked about Donald Trump narrowly avoiding a prison term, while the Malaysian leader said he served a sentence himself. Take a look at this moment.
President arrived, he asked me to join him in the car. I said that's against the security and protocol rules. And he was delighted to break the rules, and It was a nice ride. And we share a lot of things in common. I was in prison, but he almost got there. But very good exchanges.
Where darkness hides behind every corner. Where the truth is stranger than fiction. A show that dives deep into the stories which shock and mystify. Unsolved murders. Psychopaths who defy explanation. International war crimes. And millions swindled in financial fraud. The victims, the accused, and the sinister plot. Prime Crime is your front row seat to darkness.
The stress of our world can take a toll on our physical and emotional health. Here, in New York's Catskill Mountains, lies a luxurious place of healing called WION Wellness Center. The WION Wellness Center provides 500,000 square feet of natural methods to manage diabetes, hypertension, chronic pain, obesity, depression, anxiety, and other conditions.